to do with these intros anymore, but this is podcast 155. And we have a regular podcast host back on, Mitch Davies. Welcome.
Oh, who is this guy?
Thanks for having me. Yeah. I think you guys done, 155 on 154 of them, right? Yeah.
Oh, please. Yeah.
Pretty close, that's for sure.
Ego definitely hasn't changed. Yeah,
That's
for sure.
right, yeah.
Thanks for coming on, Mitch.
No, thanks for having me, guys.
This weekend was a big tournament out in Ontario for you guys, and out here in Alberta, Saskatchewan, BC, we had open qualifying for the zones. So
yeah, I had a chance
weekend.
to look at some of your qualifying results. Dex, congrats on winning. Carrie, I've been there. Don't worry. Timmy, I've never been in your shoes, man, but congrats to you. No, congrats to you too, though, for being picked as coach. That's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great weekend.
I'm
Excited.
excited.
Mitch messaged me like a couple hours after and said, make sure to send a video of you guys at the Open and send it back to Tim. And I was like, yeah, no, that doesn't work. He's going to be there. He's coaching. So.
Yeah. I mean, I would be there regardless. Yeah, it's a little bit weird not making the team after like 10 straight years, but we have a good zone, and I looked at it. If anybody watched me all weekend, if I needed to shoot a shot in 10 or anywhere in the game, it was a pick. I was absolutely dog shit. So for me to be where I was, and for me not to shoot a shot I needed to shoot all weekend, it's not saying it makes me feel any better, but I definitely did more points than I thought I should have deserved on the weekend. So I wasn't very good. That being said, I'm a little bit nervous and excited to be a mixed team coach. And I will throw it out there. I did have a little bit of a periodic glance of the preliminary lane draw, and I do play Carey first.
Oh.
Our team does. So I might not be able to dog him this year, but I can definitely, maybe other players can dog him. So there'll be a little bit of gamesmanship.
There's a D and an E in it.
Yeah.
Why are you dogging him?
Because I'm barking. I'm barking all up here, guys.
Hey, but Carrie, it's not going to be at Bonnie Doon this year, so you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be okay, right?
Yeah. Well, I used to think I was a heck of a grinder, but Innisvale took it to me. I can tell you that.
Yeah, well, obviously we have like another 10 or 15 minutes to talk about this. So how do you feel about mixed emotions, obviously, because you want to be on that men's team with a couple of the guys that you grew up with, and but you also get to be on a mixed team. So and it's a good experience, obviously. So how do you feel? How do you feel?
Obviously I was disappointed. I had a chance going into 10. I needed to throw the double to pass Victor to make men's team. Okay. Unfortunately didn't. I threw the first one, didn't throw the second one. So ended up on the mixed team, but it's kind of neat because we have 3 rookies. One of the guys just started playing 5 years ago, or came back to the game 5 years ago. One guy is super young, Wyatt.
First year at YBC. So
yeah,
oh, wow.
it's gonna be a neat dynamic, and obviously I'm a senior on the team, so it'll be fun to lead those guys, and I might get a little bit of playing time, so I'm grateful for that. I'm
certain you will. But you know what? The way I look at it is I think both are eager to learn and want to get experience, and I think they're going to be great team players. If anybody pops onto the 5PL, Mitch Rio, our backroom guy,
Mitch,
and Mitch can play. He gets on a roll, and he's really good. So I'm really happy for Mitch.
And we have a couple veterans too. Like Robin's been on a couple ladies teams. She's been on some mixed teams. Peggy, Eric Chose's mom, is playing. She's been on a few mixed teams. Mm-hmm. And Karen, she's I've seen Karen around quite a bit. I know she's played for a while. She was an alternate the 1 year, and then she qualified the 1 year and COVID happened. So it's nice for her to get a chance to play. So
really good.
Dex, 4 of the 6 guys are returning. You and somebody else is filling in. Sorry, I forget.
Jeremy Simchuk.
Oh, Jeremy, yeah, good guy, great player too. So you guys got a fantastic team, obviously. Looking to repeat.
I'm very, very excited. Very excited. I've wanted to play with Adam Kemp for a long time. We talk about it every year. It's like, hey, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it together. And either I make it or he doesn't, or he makes it and I don't. And so it's nice that we finally get to play together. And I'm really excited to play with Ty. Obviously, I'm really excited to play with Adam and
Brad.
Adam and Brad. Played with them lots. Awesome playing with them, but I haven't gotten the opportunity to play with Ty. So super excited for it. Yeah, I think that team's going to be good, but I think we're going to have a lot of fun too.
Awesome, yeah. You obviously won your zone. You were going beast mode, obviously, day one at Bonnie Doon. How did that go? Like, obviously, the mental prowess, everybody, like, just seeing all the strikes shot around you, like, how does that, do you have to just kind of block it out?
Yeah. So after podcast last week, we did a randomized lane draw. It was because Daryl was running it, and we literally used random.org and we randomized the lists, and then Daryl just punched it in, and it was 100% random. But I ended up playing with Ty and Katie, and then the three of us basically just fucking laughed our asses off for 10 games. So it was pretty easy to block out the other stuff too. I mean, watching Weber shoot a perfect game a couple lanes over is congratulations to Adam.
You lost 49 sticks, right?
yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about that. People out there don't realize. I swear to God, Weber has a horseshoe out his ass. Whether it's Hislop throwing away the last ball in qualifying so he can get a singles. And just all this stuff. Weber's career is defined by horseshoes. Okay. So I will say this.
You talk real different when you're not on his team.
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Before it's fucking dick sucking galore, and all of a sudden now it's and now he lets it out, eh?
It's cocktail weenies, right? But
yeah.
So we were supposed to play on 33, 34. It blows like the electrical blows in the back. And people are getting corners. It's not a really good set, but I mean, compared to like the rest of the center.
Yeah.
And so he goes. The next game he has to play. He's on 31, 32. Has to go to 17, 18. Throws the perfect game, and then he goes back. So,
come on.
So I will say nobody else got to play that set right away, and it is what it is. But I said, and then Adam's like, man, you know what? If I don't get to move that set, I probably don't throw the perfect game. And he had like 5 or 6 garbage strikes. Him and Kemper on each set, the sets beside each other. And Kemp and them had 5 in a row that should have been complete like corners or chops or head bricks. And they're all laughing the whole time. And I said, I looked over. I said, he throws the first one in 10.
Yeah,
obviously, he's going to throw it. But I was doing the video. That was my video. And I was ready to go down there and get in his face and ask him how much he fucked up. If you hung 12, just as what we all talked about last podcast. Yeah. And he said, and he's up there. He's like, he knew it was coming. He knew. So he's like, I had to throw the strike.
So Mike Fitzpatrick was in today, a listener of the podcast. He was in the bowling alley today, and he said, Carrie talked about it last week. When you're filming the perfect game, don't just end it right after.
I did. He had the fist pump. Mike's wrong. He's a Bombers fan, right?
And then he was like, Tim just ended it right away. But yeah, no, it was good. It was easy to block on most of it because, especially day one, when you're shooting well, you don't have to worry about the other scores. You really don't have to. You just try to put up a decent number of points the first game and then a day and move on. So you don't even have to look at the results. Crazy. Really.
I know people in Alberta. I see it's a trend from pro league teams sharing congratulations to who makes what team. I want to point out that the Dream Crushers, everybody except for myself made it, even our emergency spares. And so if that doesn't tell you, like...
Who's the top team?
Yeah, you know what? See you later, right?
Next Gen.
And Next Gen didn't do it. I don't see Next Gen on there. Just the Brad and Ty show again, right? But
if they don't have time, if they don't have the Ty and Maltese, they win the fucking thing last year.
Yeah. The other thing I really want to point out on a serious note, I know Gary Bear made a post about his father, right? And unfortunately, his father passed away Saturday morning just before he played. And hell of a job, Gary. Gary going out there, shooting the way he did, coming in second. I could never do that, I don't think. I wouldn't be able to be focused. Gary did a great job. I really have to commend him for that.
Sorry to hear that, Gary, if you're listening.
I could tell you, it was a rough morning. Gary letting us know that he was going to play after his dad passed. And yeah, it was a little whirlwind of emotions for a lot of people. But yeah, Gary played unreal.
Yeah.
I did want to switch gears there really quick. I'm sorry to hear that, obviously. Bring it to a lighter note here. Timmy, I saw you missed by about 100, but Rylan and Jordan had just missed out by about 20 and 10 or 15 sticks. Yeah. Did it come down to to a moment, or?
Yeah, you know what? It was super close. There was about, before I shit the bed in 18-19, it was about 6 of us in spots for 3 spots. Because Cody was dropping a little bit, and then he picked it up the last couple games, but there were 6 of us. And Brett just came out unglued Mapstone game 19. He played unreal. And, Brett, it doesn't really do a whole lot. I've known Brett, and we've been good friends for a long time, and I saw the look in his face, right? And I knew that he was dialed in. He doesn't do it often, but when he does.
And that's the face he makes when he's about to murder somebody, though.
Yeah, I don't like that face sometimes. I don't know.
And you know what? Jordan was super close. Rylan was super close, but I don't quote me on this, but I think Brett had to shoot a 4-bagger or something to finish. Like he.
Oh, Brett did.
Yeah, Brett finished up his game, right? And so really, it was great to watch all around, right? There was maybe a little bit of an issue with St. Albert again with he's learning how to use the scoring system, so there was a little bit of an issue where people thought they made the team and didn't make the team.
Oh.
Because he didn't do the stats properly, because he didn't drag and drop it in there.
It's not like Sherwood Bull's ever done that.
No. We've been very good about that kind of stuff.
There's been a couple times.
Yeah, but he's learning. But it was good. It was great to watch, right? And felt bad for Jordan, right? But I think we can maybe convince Jordan to come down as an alternate just to get the experience for the Open.
So besides the winners, let's just pick on the Edmonton Open a little bit. So besides the winners, who's the standout player, men and lady?
I think Tyler. I tell you what, I watched Tyler. Watched Tyler on Saturday in a tough center. Maybe not Hopedale tough, but St. Albert in a tough center. And he played unreal. And he had a chip on his shoulder, something to prove. He's unreal to watch. For the ladies, I thought Katie played very well, in everything. But
I'm super stoked for Katie. She kind of self-defecates every year, and she's like, I'm always stuck between fourth and sixth. I can never make singles, and she finally gets to play singles, and she's so fucking good. It's nice that she's actually going to get that opportunity because she deserves it. Had to kick her in the ass in game 16 or something like that, but she actually listened, so it was good.
That's a miracle. It's a miracle.
I'll tell you what, if you look at other zones, and especially in Alberta, if we're just talking about Alberta, Calgary's day 1 teams compared to day 2 teams, I haven't seen such a drastic change. And I think that's, if you're a viewer, it's great to watch because the parity across the board was quite something. So
I think everybody follows the Edmonton contingent, like how it's going to go across literally everybody across the country watches that because you want to see the scores from Bonnie Doon, and you got 70 people trying out for these teams, right? So, and you guys are a hotbed, obviously, for bowling. So, I think everybody follows it because, even on Sunday morning when I'm getting ready to go play, I'm looking at the scores when I'm having for breakfast, and I'm just like, oh, okay, and then you just start looking at it, wow, 27 guys or whatever it was over 250. But that's just the nature of the beast with Bonnie Doon, and you guys have obviously top level players.
Yeah. Let's Edmonton could be a little bit better on their stats in the last 3 games, but whatever.
That's perfect. Do you know what? Yeah, no, I will say, it's just, me and Daryl just grind our lights out there. We're going to worry about ourselves at that point, so. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No. We just got a little bit busy, yeah, that's for sure.
Obviously lots of open talk. We can't cover it all because obviously we know there was tons of zones playing. We picked on our zones a little bit, but we should just move on and bring in our special guest. And
sorry, before we do it, again, congratulations to Adam Weber on his perfect game, but I also want to throw out a congratulations to Clint Chevrier.
Oh, yeah.
Clint Chevrier.
Oh, yeah.
At Whitewater, doing a perfect game on Is that Monday or Monday?
Oh,
Is it a Sunday night or Monday?
I didn't even know that. That's phenomenal.
Congratulations to him.
Yeah,
Okay.
2 perfect games.
Now you can do whatever you want, Kerry.
I don't want to anymore. We'll just do a little self-promotion here. So for as little as $2 a month, you can become a patron at patreon.com/5pinuniverse. Help support us, bring these podcasts to your faces every week. And yeah, have a little bit of fun doing it. So without further ado, we have the 2023 Hopedale Classic Champion, Bob Beaucage. Beaucage.
How are you? Thanks.
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
Congratulations.
Just glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Just glad to be here. That's like Mitch's MO. You know, I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah. They pay
Congratulations. How are you feeling after the weekend?
Surprisingly, very good. I was, I think, 21 games on Sunday. That was much more than I ever expected to bowl. So, but I felt good physically. I felt really good, even on Monday. So, very happy. Yeah.
Awesome. Have you come down from the high yet?
Yeah. Well, back to work Monday, so that puts a damper on things that we're doing.
You didn't win enough to retire?
Bob's been under pressure. He threw a perfect game for 10 grand. I think he understands pressure.
Yeah, that's fair.
I like to think so.
So let's go through this. Mitch, obviously you're a big component of the Hopedale tournament being a thing for Club Tour and help building it out. So let's start from kind of how you got the amount of entries you did, how Hopedale played out.
I think it's a variety of things. Obviously, so we needed to find a new center because Neb said they weren't going to take the January one. They're too busy, obviously, and so we had to find a new center. And I asked Jeff, I'll take it. I tried a couple centers in the area of the GTA. I wanted to stay around the GTA/GHA area, and I tried a couple, and with no luck. And then I went to Hopedale for year end last year for Masters, and I had a conversation with them, like, would you guys be open to it? And they're like, yeah, let's have a conversation. So went for a meeting. In the summer, we went over all the logistics. We went over prices, everything like that. And they're like, "Oh, how many entries can you give us?" Like, how? I'm like, I have no idea, man. I said, I can't guarantee you anything. I have no idea. I said, we haven't had less than 140 in a couple, like 5 or 6 years, but I don't know, right? They're like, well, I don't know if we're gonna make money or not. I'm like, I don't know. So at the end of the day, they took a chance on us, just like we took a chance to like go somewhere else that had never ran a tournament of that magnitude before. And we got it done. So I want to thank Hopedale, obviously, Ron and Linda Watson. They took a huge chance on us, and thank you very much to them. But, yeah, we worked on it from, say, July all the way. It's kept in constant communication all year. We got out the entries, and I think the biggest components, obviously, bowling right now, guys, is hot for as far as tournaments go. Is it the WCBT? Is it like Nebs being a huge component of it? I think it's a variety of things. Like, it's just we're getting exposure and people want to be a part of things now. So when Nebs runs the club tour in the middle of August and we have 320 entries, right? That's obviously a huge component or a huge factor from you guys, right? And you guys having all this exposure that you bring forward as well.
Well, honestly, I was talking to Bob before this. You guys got 197 entries this tournament, which is really good, especially when you consider that this is on like basically the national open qualifying weekend for most zones in Canada, right? Well, so that's impressive. That's really impressive.
Actually, here's the most impressive part to me is our province historically has been lackluster for participation in general, and everybody knows that. Like it's everywhere. The only one tournament that usually everybody plays would be the Open. And we saw it at Nebs where it was pretty much a 50-50 thing from out of province to in province to have 320 entries. The most impressive part to me is I think we had 125 individuals, or 127. It was something like around that number. And we had 11 Americans. We had 2 BC, 1 Northern, and like 5 Quebec. So at the end of the day, we only had 20 people that were not from our province to play this tournament. So we still had 120 or 105 to 110 players from our province to play this, which I was like super surprised with.
Yeah.
That's what you
trend.
need. Yeah, that's what you need to run these tournaments. So you have to show that you're going to have participation from the people around you. And for the most part, we got what I had tried to accomplish was I wanted us to be in the GTA so that way we could get players from Hamilton, get players from Central. Central historically doesn't send that many players, but they probably sent around 12 and they have another 10 probably that could play. It's just they sent more players than ever before probably, and that was a huge thing for me. We needed to see that we were going to get these people if we're going to continue this. 197s are our second most entries that we've ever had. We'll never, like, Club Tour at Nevs will never be able to be competed with, right? Just impossible. So on our scale, like, if you guys have Heritage, Heritage is 20 lanes, you guys can, possibly beat that, right? So on your scale with your promotions and your sponsorship money and all that stuff like that, it's huge. You guys can get that. But we I think we sold ourselves short because we lost probably 15 people in the last 7 days.
Oh, so it always happens, though.
Yeah, it always happens. Yeah. But there was a couple people that I didn't expect it to happen with, and it happens. You just got to take it, roll with it, and move on.
Yeah, it pisses you off. I mean, because you plan on these people being here, and it's like that you're not going to be able to make it. Why don't you tell me ahead of time, right?
Yeah, I hate that so much. I hate it so much. But you can't get mad. You can't get frustrated with it. You just got to be like, okay, thanks for letting me know. Because at the end of the day, it's better that you know that they're not coming than maybe waiting 5 minutes and they don't come anyways, or you try to contact them and they don't answer, or whatever. These things happen. So it's better off that you just let us know that you're not coming, because no one's gonna hate you for it. It's just it happens.
Yeah. I just want to preface this for people listening, the fans, the audience. Bob has been on our podcast before, podcast 73. So if you want to hear more background stuff about Bob's career and stuff like that, that's the podcast to listen to. We're going to kind of focus on Hopedale and Bob's success at the Hopedale this year. But so how did the tournament structure work? Like, obviously, us being at open qualifying, we didn't really follow the tournament as much. So if you wouldn't mind elaborating, 8-game qualifier, several different shifts, what was the Sunday format like and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so we didn't have a Thursday event this year. We're going to be looking to bring a Thursday event to Nebs this year in August, which we announced the dates for them this past weekend. I think it's August 19th to the 21st. But it'll probably be the 18th to the 21st because we are going to bring in a Thursday event this year. So it was 4 shifts, Friday morning at 8 for 8:30. And 1:30 shift on Friday afternoon. It was 48 max and 64 max. We got 40 on the first shift, which was the exact number that I was like, okay, if we can hit this, we should hit 200. And then we hit 197, obviously, but we hit that. Of course, Bob here, by the way. Bob on the first ball throws a chop off, and the sensor breaks on lane 2. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. I'm glad I allotted for time, apparently. But We started at 8:32. We got all the announcements in. We had a major sponsor in Steve Zimmerman Home Guard. So he was there as well. He had a bunch of setups for his business as well. Lots of conversations we had with him. So we started at 8:32, and our first shift ended at 1:45. So we were behind a little bit, but I allotted for that with the Bakers at 9 o'clock. We actually finished around 8 o'clock the second shift. So we still had about an hour to do whatever. And the Bakers started at 9 o'clock. We had a full 16 teams. The team of... Well, I could go through the shifts here, I guess, really quick. But I know Bob actually did make it on his first shift. He had 1999. And right after the first shift, I told Bob he was going to be good because Hopedale doesn't score very well. It's not a huge scoring center. And it was evident right away that it was not going to be a big score cut. So, yeah, Thursday event at Nevs, Al. Breaking news. So I told Bob right away, and that was pretty much that was one of the highlights of that shift. Was that the winner came from there. But we had Colby D'Antonis, an American who has played 5-pin only 4 games the day before the first time, and he shoots 23-20 or whatever. But his ball was working awesome for the center. He had a ton of turn, and he got it out to pretty much the arrows, and just absolutely lit the place up. It was crazy, just like how well he was doing, and how well he like. They're oblivious sometimes to bad breaks, right? Because they're come from a tough game.
Yeah. Does he not hold a record in duckpin as well?
If Jeffy's watching, Jeffy could probably let you know here.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing that actually.
Yeah, the same weekend Jonathan Cowan broke a record. I think Colby broke the record again or something like that. Yeah. There was record breaking going on.
And I think John had the house record or something like that at 1.2 that same day.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But that place obviously scored extremely well. So Colby goes nuts. So we have the first two shifts. They all ran on time except for the 15 minutes the first shift. We go to the Bakers, and that finished around 12:15, 12:30. So it was perfect timing to allow people to come by the next day. Andrea Disher was doing all the scores and stats. And I tell you, man, I haven't seen some, like, obviously you guys run top shelf.
You don't have to keep talking us up, but
no, it's true. It's true though. Like everything I've ever learned was from you guys and Al. Like that is it. Like I asked you and Tim and Dex, they could tell you. Like I called Dexter like the day before, and I messaged him the day before, and I'm asking them questions about Excel files. I'm asking them questions about ProScore. I'm asking them about time displays. I'm checking their website for result reasons of how I can do the times, because that's what you learn from. You learn from what is the best at what we've seen. So I'm checking all these things. So they had the scores out right away on time within maybe 5 or 6 frames of the game before, or the next game, sorry. So they were awesome. Steve was doing all the streaming, and that was fantastic as well. I left him out of my thank you post, so I had to apologize to him for that. Yeah, that wasn't great.
He probably got a laugh out of it.
Yeah, he did. And then he posted in the 05 bowling school that Bob was going to be on here today, and he didn't put my name on purpose.
Like it.
Yeah.
I think he also said there wouldn't be any swearing too.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So there's probably some kids watching right now. We had the second and third shift was 8 for 8:30 on the Saturday, and then obviously the big shift, which was 68, I think, the last shift in the afternoon on the Saturday, and then we had a private event on the Saturday night as well. Just so you guys know, private event did happen in Ontario. Private events happen.
Is there a lot of like 20s that float around? Because we can take this any way you want.
It sounds like it could be a strip club for sure.
It could be. It was A side, B side. We do it the traditional way. A side seeded and 3-game match play. B side random 3-game match play. Finished roughly at the exact moment that I said it would, 7:00 at night. And I was surprised with the amount of people that we had in there all weekend. On the Saturday afternoon, I did a little head count just to see where we were at, because I want to see. I had projections for myself this weekend of how Hopedale would do, and I had projection of how the tournament would do. And at one point, we had 150 people in a 16-lane center on the Saturday afternoon. So I was really happy with that people were showing up to hang out, not only play, but hang out as well. And then on Sunday, didn't do a head count, but I would have to say it was probably up there of like 70 or 80 people that were watching throughout the day, and I think even around 50 or 60 when Bob won. Wow. It was pretty cool, yeah. That people stuck around. They usually don't here. So it was awesome that we're trying to build something, and we were able to do it. Mm-hmm. Can't speak too much for how Bob played because I was doing a bunch of things on Sunday after I was out. So maybe Bob can let you know how his day went.
Yeah, I think this is a good transition. We kind of got the layout of the tournament. Bob, what was your experience, and how did you take down the class or take down the tournament?
Well, starting with the qualifying, it wasn't, as Mitch said, the 1999 on Friday. I wasn't sure that I would make it. I think I was 7th after that shift, but there was still a lot of players to come through after that. So when I saw that, I just figured I thought I could be better on the Saturday morning. So that's part of the reason why I came back out. And then it was pretty dicey down to the last. I think going into the last game of the last shift, my score was 39th. 30. No, maybe I was around 34th. But
yeah.
I dropped as low as 40th throughout the last 3 or 4 games. So it was a bit dicey, but there was 3 or 4 people that struggled the last game, and that allowed me to move into the cut. So ended up 34th.
Always a lot of movement in the last game.
Yes.
Crazy watching.
Yeah.
Every shift though, you would see about usually like that, but it was probably like 5 to 6 to 7 people every shift that were in the cut projected and just dropped out. Like, because the scoring, if you pushed the ball there, like you couldn't get strikes. You had to stay loose. You had to stay fluent. If you pushed it, you were screwed. So you saw it a lot in the last game where people were getting roasted or just couldn't make the shots, obviously. But it was probably every shift, 6 or 7 people that were in the cut would fall out.
Yeah. And as he said, Colby, I played with Colby on the Friday morning, and he was so consistent. I think he probably was the only one. We had a 225 and over pot, so I think it was only him and Ian that shared that. But Colby didn't have a game under that, so he was very, very consistent. Whereas mine was, I had one 370 game and another 320 game, and the rest were, struggles. So there's lots of ways to get to the cut line, but mine was all over the place. But just glad to get there, right?
Carrie, do you remember when you did that stat of like lowest game thrown but still making cut? Bob, like 161.
Yeah.
But that's awesome though, right? I mean, like that's 161 in game 2, and you found a way to get back and get into the cut line. Like that's a really important lesson for people. Like, just because you have a slow start doesn't mean that you can't find your way back in.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in a tougher center. You shoot a $161 in Regina, you might.
No, you're going next. You're going next shift.
Yeah.
But, you're going to the next shift. That's where you're going.
But you could also shoot, a couple 400s in Regina, and then you'd be right back in it too. So.
Yeah, that's all it takes. That's all. A couple 4s, no big deal.
That's right.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was 6 picks in that 161 game.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it real quick.
I think I told a few people of my 1999, I think 850 of that was in 25 frames. And then the rest was in the other 55. So it was not consistent at all, but as you said, you just grind it out, and I managed to look
to give you guys a reference of how tough it did play this weekend, and not to say that this was any slight on Hopedale, the owners, like they tried their best and they do their best. There was only 2 900s the entire weekend to start a shift or be played in all playdowns, and they were both by the same guy, Dave Biscardi, on Sunday. The highest there was Sylvan had 899, and the next highest I think was like 865 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how tough that was.
Normally you got somebody over 950 or even 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And another reference here, sorry. Ian Gavell, who I may have, had as a horsey somewhere.
And Ian's a hell of a player.
And Ian's a top 5 player in the province. He's an awesome player. He was winning a match with 352 for 2 by 20. by 20. Yeah. And then he was shut out in 29 frames when the guy had finished with 545. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, that text message you sent me, I literally laughed out loud at work.
Yeah.
545.
I think it was 548 or something like that, yeah. Because Ian just got to 501 to be shut out in 29 frames.
Was that against Mark?
Uh-huh.
It was 555 to 501.
There you go, 555. Oh, my God. Sorry.
He clutched up at 223.
Oh, yeah. Mark threw a double and 10 to get that, I think. I'm pretty sure.
So, okay, I'm not... I'm just mind-blowing because, I mean, like, I see Manitoba was tough. We've been playing on a lot of easy centers, which is... We're lucky, right? But, I mean, we play a harder center like what you guys have. Now, that being said, Bob, I know you your central president down there, so you played Hopedale a lot. Did that help you, like, be okay and understand what we were getting yourself into? Where a lot of these players weren't ready for that, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing well there the last few years. I think Mitch, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but in the 10-game qualifying first week there, I shot 2,800. So I've been playing well there, so I'm very comfortable in that house. So that certainly helped me going into the tournament. I thought, not that I had any expectations of winning it, but I thought I could play well enough to make the cut. Right?
There was three main shots that were kind of working on the weekend. It was Bob's was obviously top shelf, where he's playing a hard angle from the. It didn't matter if you were left or right. If you were playing an angle with turn, you could score. The slow ball, we had our most ever women make the cut. 5. 5 had made it, and going in the last game, there was another 3 of the last shift that were in the cut. It could have been a total of 8, but 5 is our most that we've ever had make it for women. Slow ball was definitely working, and it was evident too. Like the Americans, they throw the ball out. They lofted pretty good. So if you lofted it, you could get some scores as well.
Yeah. 5 women and 4 duck pinners in the cut. So.
Yeah,
that's really neat. That is a really neat stat.
Yeah.
Synthetics?
Synthetic, yeah. Dry. Extremely dry. Extremely dry. Very dry.
Oh, Mitchie.
Oh, Mitch, yeah. Yes, sorry, Bob, continue.
No, that's all right. No, that's good. So that was, yeah. So, and then the Sunday went well, obviously very well, but it didn't start off that great. I was against Dave Viscardi, the first match on the A side, and he opens up with nine in a row. So that took me out of the A side fairly quick.
Can't be that tough, right?
But I think, did he have a 900? Is that one of his sets that we had a 900?
It was 893.
Yeah.
So.
I was I kind of looked at all your stats before I came on here. You didn't have an easy match. Like, you look at all the players you played, you didn't have an easy match. Your first game on the B side, you ended up, it's kind of foreshadowing the finals, right? You played Walt at the same time there.
I think I was DJ on the first one.
Yeah, DJ first, and then Walt.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. And then you played Sean Barrow, who's a good player. Maxime's a good player. And Bobby, once again, is going to be a bridesmaid again. But you can't put a runner-up on there. You maybe put an asterisk beside top 4 this time for him. But but you play some real hard players, like, and good people, right? So
yeah, Sean, I was, if any match was more worrisome, Sean was rolling super all day. So coming up against him, I was really thought he just roll right over me there because he was playing so well all day. So there was no easy matches. There never is, right? Anybody that makes the cut is always going to be a tough match.
Bobby was looking good, and then I think he had you, didn't he have you, Bob, for a bit?
I had a lead on him after 2, and then I opened the first 4 frames, I think, in that third game, and then he caught back up. So yeah, it went down to the 10th, and I think I had 43 or 10th just had a note. If I open up again, then he's got a chance. He probably beats me. So.
Yeah, Bobby was locked in. He was looking pretty good. For a bit there, you thought he might have got it done. He's still looking for that, elusive number 1. But I thought he was going to have it all the way. But Bob was just so consistent all day.
I was very, very fortunate.
Someone did that. Go ahead, Bob. Sorry.
No, that's right. I was very fortunate that, as we talked about before, the speed was the key. So I was able to keep my speed pretty consistent all day. So I was on the side. Because if you get too much speed, you start pushing it, then you're chopping and kicking. So I stayed away from that all day. And if I felt I was getting in trouble, I was able to just move a board or 2 and get back online. So it was very, very, very good day for sure.
Yeah. You played Walt in the finals, and Walt was rolling pretty good, and you struggled to start, didn't you?
Yes, I guess I was a bit nervous, but yeah, I think I opened the first 4 or 5 frames, and then I ended up coming out of the first game with a 10-pin lead or something because
Yeah, you threw like a 5 or 6 bagger to finish for like 250.
Yeah. And I had a big second game, and he struggled. He was chopping. I think he had 4 or 5 chops the first 7 frames, and he spared all of them. But
you know what?
I think it was getting him a little bit frustrated. So.
Actually, I want to bring that up for you guys because you guys are both bowling alley owners here. So I would like to know what you guys would have done. So Walt had a ball that had been repaired, and you could tell it had been repaired. So now Walt had been playing really well all day with this ball, but this ball would have a ball jam probably every third ball, every second frame. So they told. So, anyways, wasn't going to tell him to take it off. I was not going to tell him to take it off because he was playing so well. So what would you guys have done in that instance? Because this was probably another 5 matches to go.
Let him play. It's obviously something I think that deals with ours. Is you gonna jam on it? Is it on every lane or just his lane?
It ended up being every lane.
But did he have a problem during qualifying?
I think he did, and he ended up switching the ball anyways. So it wasn't like a center factor. He changed it because he wanted to, and then he went back to it in playdowns.
Okay, I that's a tough. If it just happened on those set of lanes, I would say let him play. But that's a tough call. I don't know.
What
if it's happened every time on every set of lanes? That's an issue, right?
I tried to move him off one set of lanes, so we tried that. And I asked them both. He was playing Forrester at the time, and I said, "Hey, you guys want to try a different lane?" He's like, "Oh, it's because Walt told me." He was like, it was on 11-12 that had happened on, and it was on 15-16 that it was happening on before, and he was just saying it's only on these 2 lanes. It's only on these 2 lanes. I'm like, all right, man, like do you want to move to 13-14? It's open. There's only 2 matches or 3 matches going on at a time, or whatever it was, right? And I said, do you want to move? And he was beating Forrester after like 15 frames, but only by a little bit. And I said, listen, guys, like once you make this decision, though, we go to 13-14. You stay there. You're not going back. It is what it is. If you want to try it, we can. If you don't, let's not. They said both agreed to it. We went to 13-14, and it continued to happen. So there was at that point, you just knew it was going to happen all day.
Why was it jamming? Is it like too big?
I'm not totally sure like what it could have been because
what kind of bowling ball was it?
It was an old Comet.
Okay.
Yeah, it was an old Comet. So I'm not sure if it's like altered and it was like, okay, maybe there's a weight distribution problem there because of like you've put epoxy in it and all of a sudden like maybe there's like not enough weight on all angles and it's not getting up the hill. And it's obviously underground ball returns and it's one of the ball returns that come down and then they come back around, right? Like they come out this way.
Oh, it's the 10-pin lifting ones.
Yeah.
With the belts, those are so silly.
But it was not it was not even getting to the.
Oh,
yeah. It was hitting something or
so
something.
We're not sure if it was the ball or maybe the racks are not cleaned enough or something. Like I'm not sure. Like obviously I didn't want to speculate.
It was only him.
Yeah, only his ball.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough call. If it's gonna be all day, and it's only him, that's tough. That's tough. I would love to say that if it was like the finals match or whatever, and it was going, I would let him play.
Oh, and that's what I did do. I didn't make him change or nothing. And then the owner of the bowling alley, Ron, he had sat there in the finals and the semifinals in the pit, just waiting for it to happen.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I think that's probably the right call. But like, if it was happening all day, at some point, maybe you ask him not to. If it's all day, yeah, that's crazy. In the finals is one thing.
And of course, he's playing awesome. So it's like I'm not gonna tell him to do it.
Yeah.
It's a rock and a hard place there. I'm just gonna say like, hey, it's gonna keep happening all day. If you want to go through the ball jams, and I'm not totally like, you could tell at some points it was giving some of the opponents that he was playing like a hard time. Because it's every frame, right?
Yeah.
Now,
it's almost a slow play issue.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. So I was like, well, screw it. Just stick with it, Walt. Sorry, I'm not going to tell you to take it off. So
I would have.
You would have, Kerry? Would you have or no?
Yeah, I would have because the ball isn't conforming. There's an issue with the ball.
Yeah, we had the problem one time at TPC, but it was only on lanes 11 and 12, and it was like one of those big ass Brunswick balls that were like, but it felt massive. It felt bigger than normal. I don't know. It felt weird.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, eventually he just took it off. But he wasn't really close to the cut anyways, so it wasn't like
like if it was just one set of lanes, I wouldn't push the issue. But because it was constantly on all different sets, the ball is the issue. It's not the center, right?
Correct.
So for that reason, I would be like, well, sorry, unfortunately, this ball isn't playable.
Yeah.
That's the issue with our sport. There may need to be some changes. So, but
well, and that's another thing. Like in duckpin, they have rings and they have weights, and they figure out like what your ball if it's legal or not. We don't do that, right? We don't make sure. Like someone could come out there with a 6-inch fucking ball. I don't know. Like I have no idea, right? They could come out there with a a fucking 5-pound ball. I have no idea. We would have no idea.
Yeah.
Right? So
until you have machine issues, right? Machine issues would be the telling factor.
Yeah, eventually, you would think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was that. Memorable moments of the weekend was a duckpin player, Russ Welton, made an adjustment, I think, and his adjustment was to put his hand way over his head, and he hit the bulkhead right above him, and the ball fell on him.
Big push-up, right?
And the ball fell on him.
Yeah.
How tall? Okay, so how tall was he?
He's tall. He's like 6'5" or 6'4", right? Yeah. And then I made the wrong.
Mitch.
Oh yeah, he's huge. He's like double the weight too. He's huge. He's a big dude. Nice guy though. He's a great guy. He dropped it on himself, went on the other lane, and it went down the lane in the gutter in the other lane.
Legally delivered.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I just let him throw it over again. It was very late, and it wasn't gonna make it. So I'm like, go ahead, man.
he's already embarrassed, right? Just
go.
Yeah.
Just go.
Crazy.
Yeah. The duck pinners a bunch of them did come to our league on Thursday to Mountain, so they got a totally different experience of what they were gonna have on the weekend.
That's smart. That's smart. Yeah, our game's super easy. Come on out. Yeah.
Before they made the cut, are they the ones that went to Hopedale instead?
Some of them did. Some of them went to Hopedale and Mountain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Frick.
That second game there, Bob, 351 in your second. That must have felt really good, eh? You see Walt struggling a little. You see Walt getting a bunch of those chop offs, and you're just rolling. You're just like, okay, let's put as much distance between him as we can at that point, right?
Yeah, that's traditionally not my strong point is putting people away when I have the chance. But I was rolling good there, so I just kept going. And yeah, as I said, he was getting frustrated, and with the chops, and he just started picking, and I just had to put that out of my mind. I think Steve asked if the blades helped me, but they didn't. They had no effect on me. I just, sat between frames and let him do his thing, and then.
I think you could tell that Walt was upset. I think you could tell.
Yeah, he was good. He's not one to hide his emotions.
I was going to say, is Walt vocal?
Oh, great guy though.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Great competitor, yeah.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Like you thought he was going to be the first American to win one, and yeah, he was playing great all day, and he'd finally taken that run. Like he's had a couple runs even at Regina, where I think he's made it to the eights. So that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to see as well this weekend that some players were taking their chances. I think they've kind of realized, you're not always going to make it in one shift. So to see other players play from here to play 2 or 3 shifts, even 4, I think Forster played 4 shifts and made it and then ended up making it to the 8s. And that just shows sometimes, like, if you just keep playing, you can figure it out eventually.
Law of averages, right, Mitch?
Law of averages.
If I play 5 shifts, I'm probably going to make it.
Yeah, he had 398 that last shift too, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and then Sean burned them for the $1,000. We did a high game pod instead of doing escalating 450, which may be breaking news. We are probably going to be combining 3 tournaments for an escalating 450 pot. So the 2 club tours and Timmins. Yeah, and Timmins. So I think we're going to be starting that in Timmins in a couple weeks. But we had a high game pot. It was $20, and $398. I had a bet with Sly saying that there would be a 400 this weekend. He's like, "There's no way. There's no possible way." And Sean went into 10 on the front nine. Just chiseled it. What do you mean? What? Yeah. Just chiseled it and then missed it and hit it for the 401 and stole $1,000 right out of Forrester's pocket.
I think you put the pressure on him before that last call, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Nice to see some names out there on that list. Jaden Lawson.
Oh yeah, Jaden showed up. I think he's going to join our league now too.
Jaden was a great player. Out
talented.
Here.
Oh, he throws a great ball, man. Yeah, you could tell he was rusty shift 1 with the Buck 17 game 1. But you can tell he was rusty. He hadn't played in a while.
For people out there, Jaden is Bailey's younger brother, and he has way more talent than Bailey ever has. I will say that on podcast.
Wow.
Jaden's natural athlete.
Overrated.
Oh, he's not overrated. He's not overrated.
Jaden has a natural athlete. He had a scholarship to play for, I think, McMaster.
McMaster, yep.
Yeah.
Was that big guy that built like a football player?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know who that was.
Yeah. Challenge. He played at U Challenge out of Alberta for a few years for nationals. Yeah.
Great bowler. He played in our league for a bit. He was like around 250, and then he just came out of nowhere. I guess he still talks to Sean Barrow, so he just showed up, played 2 shifts, and he's like, he's gonna join our league now on Thursdays, I think, at Mountain. So that's good. He lives like 5 minutes from the bowling alley. I'm like, why didn't you just message me before? But so now we picked up a player.
Yeah, it's awesome. Really nice kid.
It's amazing to see sometimes, like, at these cash tournaments, like random people come out of nowhere. Like, and I said that to you before, Tex and Tim. I'm like, you guys own a bowling alley in Edmonton, and there'll be people that show up to this tournament that you have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
And
I always I know it's a problem when they ask for house shoes. We did have that one time, and it was a unique experience. That's for sure.
But it was the same thing this weekend. I was like, there's like half a dozen people. I have no idea who you are, and I've been playing here for 30 years or whatever. And I have no idea who some of these people were. I'm like, okay, man, come on over.
It's the worst part when they come up to you. It's like, hey, how's it going, Mitch? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't know you from Adam, right?
Hey, then I just get them to buy me a drink.
It happened. It didn't happen. It happened to you in Regina when somebody was upset and you didn't talk to them.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah. She's like, why do you talk to me, Mitch? Well, I don't know you, so it's
stirring the pot.
But overall, it was a great weekend. I think Ron and Linda were extremely happy with the club tour and how it went down. I think it was a profitable weekend for them as well. So we look forward to seeing if we're going to be back there next year at Hopedale.
I certainly hope so. I'll vote for that.
I bet you do. I bet you do. I bet you do.
It was a fantastic weekend. Thanks to Mitch for the organizing everything and everybody else that helped you, and Ron and Linda. The sponsors, Steve Zimmerman, big sponsor for the tournament. Dave Post. Who else was a sponsor?
Jessica Day. Dr. Jessica Day,
yeah. So everybody that puts into these events, it's amazing. And as you said, it's hot right now. And let's hopefully we can keep it going for a long time.
Okay. So
you look real rattled right now.
I haven't heard this story. This is
no, the hotel was fine, but this was okay. It was a Sandman, brand new. It's like 5 years old. It's not an old hotel at all. Okay, great looking hotel. What's up, Timmy?
No, I just think it's hilarious. She just called you out.
Well, I guess there was we show up on the Saturday night. It was a Saturday or Friday night, I can't remember, but there's an ambulance and there's cop cars and there's everything going on here. I'm like, oh my God. And then I guess there was Luke St. George was there, and he was telling a story about how this one girl was flashing him out the side of a window, and there was like cops there and they were trying to find her or something like that, and eventually they started hiding away. Anyways, the whole point of the story is I go back the next day, And I tell Linda about the hotel of where we're staying. She goes, "Isn't that like a hotel where they charge by the hour?" And there's like all this crime and everything like that, and it's human trafficking and all this stuff. Like, no way, no way, no way. But it was a nice hotel. There's no way that's all happening there. There's no way.
Mitch has a type, eh?
No, it was a nice hotel.
He scopes it out before he
He's like, I've stayed at this hotel before. We're staying here.
I literally went to this hotel to make sure it was okay months ago, and it was fine.
And it must have been absolutely
Paid for an hour.
great.
It was
Great
fantastic.
time.
Yeah.
He probably has the
of
same
course.
room blocked off for Mitch Davies, yeah.
Of course. Of course.
Your usual room, sir?
Charlotte was on my Baker's team with Jordan and Jeffy, and I was giving Charlotte the gears all night. Yeah, letting her know that her talent level is dropping.
I can't believe she agreed to play the hybrid doubles with you.
I think she asked me.
No, she said you asked her.
She lies.
So-
She lies. Yeah, I'm gonna need to drink myself to sleep. I'm telling you, man. Because I gotta play with her, obviously. Because I got to play with her. Yeah, that's why.
Clearly.
Oh. You asked. Yeah.
Really neat. That's Colby and John is his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat that father son combo gets to make the cut.
Yeah.
You don't see those very often. I mean, obviously you've seen it happen with Greg and John a few times, but congrats to you. But
that was John's first time playing as well. He's one of their Buckton greats. One of the top players in their game. Great guy. All these guys are great guys too. Like, you know what I mean? They come up here and they have a good time. There's no drama. There's no problems. Good to talk to. So, like, I think that's all you can ask for, man. And they have a great time. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm bringing more people than Nebs, and we're going to have this. We're going to do that. It's great time, man.
So, what was their feedback of our game? Their first time playing. How did they enjoy it?
It's just, I think it's just similar to when we go to their game. We ask them, like, hey, well, how do you make this spare? Like, can you make this spare? Can you do this? Can you do that? And there's a lot of times they're asking, like, why do chop-offs happen? And I'm like, I don't know. They're trying to ask you these things. So it's like, and you try to give your best, explained answer, and then they just come back with another question. And so a lot of information, you try to, questions that you probably haven't been asked yourself in a long time. So like brand new people, like, how does this happen? So their experience, they had an Airbnb a mile away, so they were all hammered every day. So that was great.
How old is Colby?
I think he's 19.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's 19.
Bob was saying he was excited he could drink in Canada.
Yeah, he messaged me like a month before. What's the drinking age? I'm like, don't worry, you're fine. Yeah, but I think like they all love it. They took videos, obviously, and they were, they just want to know all the information, right? Of how do you spare these? Like, why do you cherry out a 3-pin on a chop off? I just try to. Yeah. Can you spare aces? Can you do it's a lot of things, but yeah, they loved it, and they still same people that are coming from 10 years ago. Walt, Russ, Billy T. These guys are all coming for 10 years now to come to these club tours. Mike Weaver was here too. Yeah, he was the first American to make a club tour finals, and he was there. He had an injured knee, but he gave it a shot. So it's always cool to see, some of these guys that like you guys wouldn't know, to see different players. It's pretty cool.
Totally.
And they're such good competitors too, because their game is match play, right? So they have a lot of match play experience. So it's never an easy match against anyone, for sure. They got the right mindset.
Well, that's the other thing too, right? When you do play them, they don't know what bad breaks are.
Yeah.
So they don't get frustrated because their game is all about bad breaks. So when you're playing them, they don't think about it, and they don't think about the score factor either. So when they're, sometimes if they're down a little bit more, they kind of like look at it a little weird because you're never down more than like 60 in a 2-game match or whatever. Like never. If you're down in one game, you might be down like 15 pins, and that'd probably be around 45 pins to us, right? So it seems like a lot more sometimes, but the score factor they don't have. But when it comes to bad breaks, they don't even doesn't phase them ever.
Yeah, that's
they
a
just go
superpower right there.
Yeah, they just go pick up whatever they have.
Yeah, yeah. And then sometimes like an adjustment in their game is to throw it harder, where that's not necessarily like our adjustments here, right? You wouldn't really go to that one. Yeah, maybe that guy over there, whatever, that way. Yeah. It's just throw it harder. Yeah,
It doesn't work.
No. So you can actually see like the differences in their adjustments compared to ours too.
Yeah, it's like I always say, the head pin is the greatest thing about our game because it can turn a match around so quickly. Whereas in 10 pin or even duck pin, the way the scoring works, if you're down by 40, your chance of coming back is like almost nil. Whereas in our game, you can be down 80 and you pick twice, the other guy throws 4 in a row, and bang, you're tied again. So,
but to watch Colby in the shift and then watch him in match play was completely different, right? Because he was starting to chop and pick because he was trying to throw it too hard, right? So you could see, like in match play, you guys know how it goes. If you hold the ball a little tighter, you know how it's going to go. But that was his first time playing match play in this game too, and he hadn't bowled in 2 days. So it was like he'd only played the 8-game shift and a couple games at Hopedale on the Thursday. So there's still things that you're not used to on adjustments as well, especially when the lanes break down as they were because they're so dry.
But if they're dry to begin with, if they're that dry, they're not. It's not changing.
So they put a conditioner on though the first shift.
Oh, okay.
There's a conditioner that goes on the Thursday night, and so for the first shift, maybe even say 5 games of the shift, it would have stayed a little bit. You could have kept it a little bit, but after that conditioner's gone, halfway through a shift, it's bending. Yeah. A couple centers do that here too. Like Waterdown does the conditioner as well, so you can see it. It actually breaks down like a 10-pin lane. It's cool, but it's not cool. So if you're playing, like say the Invitational, we play there in a month or 5 weeks or so. On the first couple games, it'll be straight with the conditioner. And then after that, you'll start to see it'll bend more and more and more each game. And that's only with 2 people on the lane. So I can only imagine what it would be like, after a shift of 40 people or so.
Right. So people that play lots of roll or whatever, they would see their ball physically breaking more game after game.
Oh yeah,
they could play off the ledge or whatever you call it.
Yeah, like on Friday when we played Bakers for Charlotte, it wasn't moving as much, but I don't know if she was throwing it differently because she usually is a big snapper, and then on Saturday it was moving, so like you could see like it's physically moving a lot more.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bob being the winner is awesome. Congratulations to Bob. Any other standout performances for you guys this weekend? Anybody you noticed that you were like, hey, that was awesome? Maybe like big jumps in their game or.
Oh, Abby made her first club tour cut. National champ last year on the mixed team, and she came out and played, and actually had a conversation with her dad about this on Sunday. Her dad showed up to watch her, and her dad's her biggest fan. And I called him out on it though because she wanted to play in the summer for club tour, and she did. But her dad said I don't think you're ready for it. You shouldn't be playing these things. And then she goes and makes one of our hardest cuts that we have in the province. And he said to me, he's like, I was wrong. She should be playing these things. She obviously can do it. It's just a matter of time. And I'm like, yeah, it just takes experience. You're not going to make every cut either. So, just because you miss one doesn't mean you should be discouraged and not go play the next one as well.
Exactly. And once you make the first one, the second one's tough because you want it real bad. And then once you make your first couple, then it gets easier.
Yeah.
You believe a little bit more, and then everything gets a little bit easier.
Yeah, Sly figured it out. Obviously, his fourth shift. But like I said, that ball wasn't really working because he was laying it down a lot, right?
Yeah.
So on that last shift, I was playing. Yeah, but he wasn't going to the far outside. He was playing more middle. I don't know if it was because he couldn't control it from that far out. But then in the last shift, I'm telling you, he must have been on the side 90 to 95% of the time. In the first like 5 or 6 games, it was unbelievable. Like he was just side, and he had 899, right? Like that was the highest first 3 of the tournament. So it was tough. Lori Filetto wasn't even going to come back on Sunday because she played. So our Masters is in conjunction with Club Tour as well. So your first shift would count towards aggregate. So Lori played for her aggregate purposes. Great bowler, but she didn't even know there was a Sunday cut.
Oh,
and so she had plans, and everybody was like, "Well, are you going to come back?" And they're like, "Well, what's the deal on that?" I'm like, "Well, you don't get bumped up." I'm like, "You just whoever she plays in the first round gets a bye." I'm like, "She gets her $550 and move on to the next one." And she ended up showing up and won a couple games.
Awesome. Good for her.
Yep.
That's great, though. That's awesome.
Jordan Banks made the cut too. Like this kid from Middlesex, where Jim Thorpe is from. He was on the mixed team last year. I don't think he's ever made a men's team out of Middlesex either. Like, and he made the cut, and he made quite the run. I want to say he went to the 4s on the one side, Bobby. I don't know if it's on the file. Sorry. Yeah. So that was awesome for him to do that too, and he had all of like Middlesex was behind him. A lot of people stayed. Like I said, there was probably a good 10 people there cheering for him. So that was good as well.
Yeah, Robert McDougall, he made the cut. I mean, he's not playing league at all, so.
I was gonna say that too. Haven't heard or seen him in a little while, so that was nice to see as well.
Yeah, Jen Young.
Yeah, Jen Young. Brandon.
Jen Young.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Brandon Pike dropped the table on his ankle like the day before, and his ankle was the size of like an iPad. Man, it was huge, and he still comes out and plays.
Yeah, he lives up north now, but he was originally from Hopedale, so he's got it's kind of a home lanes for him. So
yeah,
to see him come out and play well.
So you mentioned Jen Young made the cut. So 2022 Nebs Club Tour champion missed the cut.
Oh, digging it. Honestly,
just checking. I didn't.
So I had seen Jeffy bowl, and that ball was not working. Let's just say that. Oh, he had 1 triple in 16 games the first day.
That's a lot of balls.
Yeah, and I think he might have hurt his hand somehow.
He was icing it on Sunday. Right?
Yeah, he was icing. Yeah, hand injuries are ruining the game. Just so we're clear.
You need more fat on your hands, maybe.
Yeah.
Trust me, it doesn't make a difference, Bob. I'm as fat as they come, and my wrist is not great.
Oh, there was a lot of first time cut makers for this tournament. Like it's pretty high up there. Colby, Brandon, Connie, even right. Ian Gavell. I don't know last time he even played one. He might have been like almost 10 years. He said.
Yeah.
Lori, Melissa Llewellyn, John D'Antonis. Like there was probably over 20, almost 20 people that had made their first cut. Tom Cullen. Yeah, Tom Cullen. Matt Walker even went for a run there too. He's a big sponsor in the game as well, and starting to get a lot better. He cares. He goes and practices all the time, and he talks to me. He cares about the game. So like I said, there was a lot of people that had made their first cut for this one. Out of the 21 tournaments we played.
3 Matts all in a row there. Matt Walker, Matt Montgomery, and Matt East. Matt East hasn't been playing much lately as well, and he made it.
Mm-hmm. I like hearing like the whole bunch of different people, and I guess that's indicative of like different styles of center too, right? I mean, you go from a high scoring center. Neb scored really well when we were there. You go to Hopedale, and it's obviously a different style, right? You got to grind. You got to pick your spares. You got to make your wood. Pick your wood. It sounds like it's a grinding center. And I know how much you love doing that, Mitch.
I love it. It's so fun. So fun pinning. I love it. Yes.
Actually, Matthew Hounsom was another one that made.
Matthew Hounsom was his first cut as well. Yeah, right. And he's a young kid too. I think he's like 21, maybe 22 or so. He's like Jarrett's age. Grew up with them. Yeah. I think it was actually pretty exciting on Sunday as well because of the scoring. You didn't see a lot of games get out of reach, so a lot of times you would see a game come down to the 9th or 10th, pretty much on every lane. It was up there.
Yeah. I didn't see a lot of people conceding.
No, you wouldn't see a lot of breakouts.
Yeah, I played 21 games, and I think I had 201 frames. So I think it was only 3 matches where it ended early. So
pretty precise for not knowing.
Jesus.
Out of everybody, kind of just looking at the A side list here, like Walt was super consistent. Hey, 250 pretty much every single match.
Yeah, no, he was playing great, and I'm telling you, like 250 was going to win you majority of matches there. So it was he played great all day. You couldn't take anything away from the guy, and he just stayed consistent and just couldn't beat him. Couldn't. That ball thing though, it was maybe it kept him slow though too, like because Walt is kind of a rusher as well, and you can see it when it happens to him when he gets going. But maybe sometimes it kept him slow as well.
Now that we've brought light to this ball, do you think Regina watches for it? Is Walt coming to Regina? I haven't looked.
No, he said no because apparently flights are ridiculous, like $850 American to get there. So
that sucks.
No. Hey, Tim, was that you?
No.
Was that you?
But to tell you what, it made me $1,500 on the tour finals.
You know, I went back. I was watching them today because I wanted to see some things, and I'm just like, how did Tim win these matches?
Well, I can say it now because I'm not one who made the open team, but Brad gave it to me. Christmas came early, right? But yeah, it happens. I mean, I didn't lose to a 570 or anything like that, so that's
555.
Oh, sorry,
555. Don't give him the credit.
So obviously, we enjoy talking about all these events and all that good stuff, but this last little bit, if you guys want to chit chat about anything that's going on in the sport or something that isn't a part of the sport, this is what this time is for. What do you got going on?
Well, I was supposed to call Annette Bruneau actually today. I'm not going to say anything sensitive here, but I did see a post yesterday from Tom Patterson about coaching. And then Timmy had informed me of why we still have coaching guidelines because apparently, we might still have some grants. But what do you guys think about if it was a lot easier to become a coach in bowling? And I'm just talking about for coaching teams like Open, Masters, YBC. If it was a lot easier and we didn't have the guidelines that we do today, and say it was like a yearly fee, I don't know, $60, $80, $100, do you think we'd actually get way more coaches, and do you think we'd get, say, more revenue for the associations, for infrastructure, for future of our sport, stuff like that?
So my first question, is it hard to become a coach? Because I don't think it is. There's readily available clinics.
It depends where you're at. Yeah, it depends where you're at. I'll be honest with you. It's a lot sometimes. Like if you're old level 1 or your community sport, it's a 1-day course now. It's overdone with. That's pretty straightforward. And we have virtual clinics that are available now. So all those outreach places like Ryan O'Callahan and Thompson can take it with somebody in based off in Calgary. The hard one is what Mitch is probably most likely talking about is the competitive one, or the old level 2. It's a 2.5-day course or 2-day course, depending if you can jam it in. And then CAC or Canadian Coaching Association makes you go, and you have to do online evaluation. You have to do a couple things through your locker. You have to do all those other little bits, and so it just doesn't happen, right? It just doesn't happen right away. Right, it's also on the onus of the bowler or the coach, let's say, because you have to build those lesson plans for the evaluation. You have to make sure you do it right. Right now, whereas the community sport, it was cut and dry. It's one day you're automatically that level. Competitive, you can't right away, right? So it's all based off of CAC rules.
Well, and then as well, Tim, like with the competitive course, it's like 6 months later that you have to do that online assessment, correct?
Not right now, but usually
do it in 6 months.
6 months. So now not only do you not have it for that season, if say you do it in January, you don't have it for that season to coach in that Open that year. You have to wait till the following year, basically.
It's 3 months. Yeah, 3 months between your Once you finish your
in all fairness, that 3 to 6 months, that time period is meant to allow you that time to be around those people and implement the things that you have learned in those courses. I completely see what you're saying, Mitch, and I when you wrote it on there, I saw it and I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I think two things. One, if you're going to charge a yearly fee for coaching, you're going to lose people. It's already a volunteer thing already, and you're going to see. You already see masters, and a lot of them, like if they're non-participating, then they have to pay like a large assessment fees and stuff like that. Whereas you see in a lot of other sports, those coaches are paid coaches. Ours is a volunteer thing, and if you're going to make the coaches pay to coach, you're probably going to lose some coaches in that way. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. The other point I wanted to make is like as much as making it easier is not a bad option, and I completely agree with that. I think that there are certain things that are in those courses that are important, just for general knowledge and for covering associations' asses, like doing respect in sport and those sort of courses, and ethical decision making and those things. Having your coaches for these associations go through them is honestly it'll save associations asses if there's problems arising from some of the coaches, and it's giving good information for people who are going to be coaching the most vulnerable sectors, right?
Okay, what you've said is correct. That is true. But there's like you can make small things. Every time I turn on a video game or every time I go to a website, there's a disclaimer everywhere. You can choose to read that disclaimer and say, okay, well, these are the guidelines that you have to adhere to, and those are easily acceptable. You can just say, print your name, sign your name, you're good to go. Association is perfectly fine, covered, they're covered. That's good. Yeah. But let's go over a couple things here too, like people of age too, like different demographics of people where they're say 50, 60, 70 years old and they still want to continue with the coaching, but they don't want to go through the hoops and bounds to go and do the competitive coach. They don't want to do the online assessment. They don't want to do the online assessment because I think they came out with another thing last week, Bob? I don't know what it was, but it came out on 05. Yeah, and they're constantly evolving, and I get it, like that there has to be something there. I just think that it should be lesser. And now when it comes to about losing people, I don't think so, because I think the way it's set up currently is that people want to play, and I'm not going back to this whole thing, but I'm saying like people want to have friendships or people that they're involved with to coach these teams. Okay, so they would get their friends to coach these teams. They would get people that say, okay, pay your $100 so you be our coach. But we're losing coaches left and right. And there has to be a reason that we're losing coaches left and right. And it can't just be because they're dying or something. I'm just saying, like, it has to be a reason why Bay Quinny has 0 coaches and Central has 4 and Hamilton has 3. I'm just saying, like, why are we only having 3 and we're a huge population?
Yeah. So I think there's a lot to it, Mitch. I do want to touch point on Josh Leclerc's. They came out and they gave you guys ample opportunity. I know when I wasn't C5 that way, I was E5, and they came out and they told me I had to talk to all my coaches that were there. So I had to go and I had to personally contact every coach, and they just had to upgrade them having MED, ethical decisions. Unfortunately, like I get it. It's frustrating because you know what, you could be good, like Bob could be good, and then all of a sudden they always come up with something else, right? And that's all through CAC, right? And unfortunately, that's just how it kind of filters down. If you don't do it, you don't get the funding, and it's unfortunate that way, right? I get the frustration we have. If you guys know, I know Bob knows. Prime example is you guys might know Brian Randall. Brian isn't old as dirt, but he's a good close friend of ours. And at the center, he's coached many years. He just didn't want to do it anymore. He was just over it, right? And I get that, right? So,
Mitch, you're talking about like it being hard to get your coaching for it, and yes, you're right, it is. And you know what, making it easier isn't a bad option, but I also really don't. You're saying people don't want to go and do those things to be a coach. They don't want to put in the effort to do that. And is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? Like, is it a good thing to make it easier?
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Go ahead, Curry. Go ahead.
So I think we're missing what Mitch is asking here. Mitch is asking, do you think there's a simpler way, a way of privately funding the coaching instead of doing CAC, instead of doing this stuff, right? Like, you guys are defending the CCAC, but Mitch is asking, do you think there's an easier way to privately fund coaching in bowling sport?
And before you answer that, sorry, Tim, I want to bring up one more factor here. Is like, not a lot of times are these level 2 courses centralized. A lot of times they're in Ottawa for us, so they're 5 hours away from Hamilton. Never mind 9 hours away from Windsor, where Josh is from. And I know, like, Josh has brought it up a couple times. And personally, guys, like me, I don't care. I'm not a coach. I coach under my own free will, and I'll go coach kids that want to be coached or people that want to be coached. But I'm never going to coach teams. So for me, it doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, thinking outside the box for the sport and to gain revenue. So when you go to Ottawa and you got to do this 2.5 day course, which is a Friday, just so we're clear. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you have to take time off work, whether you work weekends as well, then stay in a hotel, pay for food, and then pay the $200 and whatever dollars for the course. At the end of the day, it could be a $700, $800, $900 weekend. You have no idea. And to be able to do this. So I'm just trying to say there's got to be an easier, more simple way that the association can not only get money, but at the same time keep coaches and get more coaches.
Yeah. So go ahead, Bob.
I was going to say the comment by Steve that's we're lucky to find the courses. There's been in the last 10 years, I don't know how many times they've put out, we're going to have this, intro to competition course, and then they just don't get enough people to pay for it. So then they end up canceling it. That's happened over and over and over again. And I don't know how many people were in that cycle that I've signed up 4 times and I still haven't taken the course because they keep canceling it. So having I know you mentioned they're going to an online course for the community coaching. I think they have to do the same thing for both of those, just to make it, as you said, people from across the country can join in.
It is. It's part of the to-do list coming up.
There has to be roughly 500 coaches across the country, man. And I'm not sure what our I'm not sure what our funding gets us from the government. I'm not totally sure. I could be out to lunch, when I'm talking about 80, 100 grand. But if you had 500 coaches across the country spending $100 a year, that brings us in $50,000. Can we not put it back into words, like you said before, development, or the options are endless. Yeah. I'm just saying there could be an easier way.
Richie brings up a great point. This is where I can see a middle ground. This is before our time, probably when Bob was younger. When you played the Open, you didn't have to have these coaching, right? So if Bob didn't make the team, or if Mitch didn't make the team, you could automatically say, "Hey, Mitch, can you be our coach?" And that's the way it was. This is me personally speaking. I can't speak on behalf of anybody else. I would be okay if, for example, if the Open, you got to coach the Open, you had to pay your fee in order to coach the Open, and that's all it was, right? If there was no funding or nothing, all this backroom stuff didn't have to worry about. If that was the way, absolutely, I'd be okay with that, because you can pay your coaching. I'll put my $100 in, I'll coach the Open, and that would be fine. But for youth, I'll be honest with you. Have you ever been to a youth, a community sport? Half these people are there to learn how to coach or learn how to play the game. I can't believe how out to lunch half of them are, right? They're there for their communities, and they're there to coach their YBC kids, right?
Okay.
And so there needs to be some, I don't know what that is, but I think there needs to be something in order to be, if you're coaching the youth or whatever it is, you got to have something in place to teach them properly, right?
Okay, so why not? Why can't we have, again, we do the applications, and then if you want to come to learn the game yourself or whatever, maybe the E5, the A5, the C5, they can run these courses if you would like to come to these courses to learn in general and collect more of a fee. I don't care. At the end of the day, people are going to pay for a service that they want to have and want to enjoy, but and we've seen that over COVID. I think that's the one thing we've seen is that look at WCBT, look at Club Tour. That's just bowling we're talking about here. Record numbers because people are going to pay the money to go to these events that they enjoy. So if people want to go to learn bowling, they can go learn from the best players around. Why not have these clinics that are still available for community coaching and just make them optional, and then collect a fee for these things? I don't know because it does seem like. Maybe if you're saying 50% of them probably don't want to be there anyways. They're only going there because they want to coach their kid or or whatever. But if there's other 50% that want to be there to learn, then like let the 50% go and make a payment. I know. Listen, I get it, Tim, that there's a lot of politics around these things, and I understand.
No. I think money is a huge thing in time off, right? And if there's a way you can manage both of those, where the virtual clinic comes in, like the community sport is available, you have a virtual clinic for the competitive, that makes a little bit onus a little bit easier. But like I know money is also the big thing, and you brought up a good valid point on that, right? So if you save the money on the virtual, that when that comes out, that helps. But I mean, I'm fortunate in Edmonton. We have a lot of funds we can use for our coaching. So if we can go out and as an association, we said, hey, I need competitive coaches, and we've done it in the past, our community. I will pay for your course, right? And you know what? We usually get it's bonus. But if there's a way associations can help cover that cost or help make incentive for them to do it, I'm just talking generally speaking. And I do see your side. There has to be more onus on helping bridge that gap too.
Okay, when it comes to Kerry has said it so many times about when it comes to Edmonton, and I understand Edmonton is they're the number one zone in the country, man. It's just it is what it is. You guys are
fortunate.
You guys have a lot of access to funds, which makes your upside a lot higher, right?
Correct, and only certain zones have access to that kind of money. And then talk about the money and the fundraising that comes forward for the interprovincial, the high-low doubles, the open, all these things. There's only so much money to go around when it comes from these zones. Yeah. So we can't just use Edmonton as an example every single time we want to talk about progressing.
No, it makes total sense what you're saying. I just wish there wasn't like alternative ways of helping that situation out with other zones. That's all I was saying. If there was a plausible way.
So I know I deflected the conversation away from Sport Canada and the competitive side of it, but so is there a lot connected to like Sport Canada to have those coaching courses in place that in order to get funding, like you guys were saying?
Correct. So
that's why they all switched to begin with. Right? Yeah, that's why it went from level 1, level 2 to comp intro and
all our coaching programs have to be approved by CAC, and it's not just page by page, it's line by line. So we had to build it according to their stipulations. And for example, like obviously this is a big thing with Hockey Canada and Safe Sport and all that stuff coming through. That's all implemented. They say you guys must have this by a certain date, or you're not able to coach. Right, and you're not able to get those grants. You're not able to get the funding. Right, so a lot of it is like, I'm not saying that C5 or Masters or anybody or Bowl Canada is not trying to go ahead of the curve and make things better, but it's a lot of it's pretty much stiff arm on what you can get. Right, so
all I'm saying, at the end of the day, if we were no longer receiving those grants, and we needed to generate revenue and we needed to keep coaches, then I think that we should look at another alternative method.
And you're not wrong. It looks like a great alternative method. In some sort of way, we can tweak it. I'm not disagreeing with you on that aspect.
let's just not make it jumping through hoops and stuff like that. That's all I'm saying. Is like life is too busy as well when it comes to these things. So just a thought.
I think you can see a lot of other things change, right? So, and different ways of doing things. If that was the case.
And I could see one argument for people saying, okay, well, how come I had to go do the level 2 and the level 1 and all these sort of things, but then now all of a sudden Joe Schmo over here can go coach whatever team he wants because the funding changed. Sorry, in order to get funding. Sorry, what was that, Kerry?
It was just saying that Saskatchewan has their own funding through Sask Sport.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, right? When provinces are still receiving funding from certain organizations in those provinces, you can't take it away. It's not the C5 level.
Yeah.
But I think we need to keep the standards, especially as you were saying, for the kids. But even the people that get a community coaching course, they're really there's no standards at the YBC level of how are we going to coach these kids. There's no game plan, I don't think, or I don't see it as to okay, I've got these 6 coaches, but I want them all to be on the same team here, and we got to coach the kids the same way, or relatively the same way, because I think that's part of why kids don't continue in the sport, is they'll bowl YBC for 3 or 4 years, but they never improve. So then they say, well, why am I doing this? But if they show improvement, like we all did when we were coming through YBC, which us in the game is improving all the time, then they want to stay in the sport and keep going. And then
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think more than anything, we need to have another level past what we have, and just actually have coach the coaches and have them truly understand the aspects of the game. And we're constantly evolving, we're constantly learning. I mean, here I am, 35 years old. I'm still learning things about my game, but that's the way it is with everybody. But I think that we could do a better job of coaching the actual coaches so that they have all the actual information in front of them. The comp intro is great for some things, but it's really basically not even a 5-pin course. Like, let's be honest, it's a sport course. It's not a 5-pin course. We need to have something, another level where it is based on 5-pin, and that we can actually, utilize to have coaches more broadly aware, so that it's not just a handful of people that could take, these kids that are, 220 to the next level or something like that.
But yeah, like I get it. Like the conversation can switch here as well, but it's just at the end of the day, we need money,
Yeah.
right? Like at the end of the day, we need
I'll
money.
be honest, I don't. For me to coach, I'm not paying a yearly fee to coach. I'm not doing it.
I think a lot of people would though,
and that's okay. I'm
Depend-
not volunteering my time.
I'm not
then
saying-
paying to do it.
I'm not saying to
no.
coach like your regular YBC league. I'm not saying that. I'm saying to go coach a team at any level, you should have to pay the fee.
Okay, so
That's all.
Let's maybe let's ask the people out there. I'm interested because I know what I disagree with, at least in our zone, is that we used to have if you wanted to coach the Open, you had to pay for it in order to be able to coach the Open, right? Or there was a fee situated with that, and I got rid of it because I was like, coaches need to be part of it, right? So there we go. You had to pay an assessment, right? So that I think is a hindrance right now as well. If you had to pay an assessment in order to coach the Open in some way, right? If you're already certified,
That's just E5 though, right?
I don't know.
I think Central, the coaches pay their assessments.
Like I said, like, so if they put their name in, I don't think there isn't a fee for Central to put your name in for the Open.
Oh, I see. Just to be able to put your name in.
Right, and I disagree with that completely, right?
Well,
Now, if you make a nationals and stuff like that, then you get an assessment fee, which I understand. They cover
other
your costs.
Other things here, Timmy, is like Dex says, I'm not paying this fee. Okay, fine. Well, if Edmonton is so well off, like Edmonton can probably front some of these fees, and that's what we're using the same argument though that we could be used for other zones. But when I was saying like, hey, if money's not going around this much money, some zones can cover it, some zones can't. Hey, sorry, like we can't cover your $60 or $80 a year, but Edmonton can. So if you guys want to have all your coaches to go coach a team, go for it.
Yeah.
But
Why? So here's my thing: if the players got to pay to play to qualify for this team, why wouldn't a coach have to pay in order to qualify to be a national participant as well?
Not
when I'm talking about, I'm not paying a fee to coach. I'm talking about like I'm not doing a yearly license for me to coach. I'm not. I understand, like Tim said, I understand if I'm going to go to nationals and there's a lot of costs on the associations and stuff like that. I don't have a problem paying for that, but I'm coaching to volunteer my time. I'm giving away my time, and I'm not paying to give away my time.
I think you're not. It's not. You're trying to participate in the event. It's not always about volunteering. Like I'm volunteering my time to play bowling, but I'm being a participant, and so is the coach.
I'm there to help. I'm there to help. I'm there to help those kids or help those adults. I'm there to try to get them to go to nationals. I'm there to try to get them to win gold medals.
So am I misunderstanding?
I would get one. I would get a medal as well if I do, but that's not why I'm doing it.
So am I misunderstanding the assessment? So the assessment is, maybe Bob can tell me, the assessment for 05, if you go and coach the provincials, do you have to pay to coach?
You pay, you pay the assessment fee like
in Alberta, I'll tell you how it works. So maybe this is why I'm all getting confused. So Alberta, as a coach, you go and pay your way, or association pays your way as like a normal bowler to go to the provincials. But if you go to nationals, Alberta, it's for IP it's $325 a person, or nationals is $400 a person. it's either on the bowler or on the zone in order to pay that if you go to the national level. I'm okay with that, but I'm not okay with, say, a YBC bowler goes for you, say, wants to go and YBC coach that wants to coach a forceps team or whatever you championships, and they're volunteering their time to do it, and they have to pay a provincial fee in order to coach provincials. I'm against that.
I don't like that. You're volunteering your time at a YBC league level. You're participating to be at a national level.
Yeah, but I also think they put a lot more time in on their own time for the love of the sport.
I think that.
Yeah,
that's a personal opinion. I think that's a bad way to look at it. If I'm participating with the kids to help them gain their medals, and for me to win a medal, right? Like, you're participating with them. You're not just volunteering time to be there.
I am not coaching for me. I'm not.
No,
I'm telling
for
you
sure.
right now, I'm not.
That isn't your role.
Exactly, but I'm not coaching for me, so that takes out the participants out of it.
Oh no!
I'm not doing
What?
I'm not
You're
doing it for
participating
me.
with them.
I think I started something
doing
here.
it to support them.
yeah. It's supposed to be banter and fun.
Their
And
parents are there to support
Well,
them.
hey.
You're participating with them. There's a difference.
It just shows there's something here.
Wow.
We've
That's
our
interesting.
YBC has changed their regions, the zones regions this year. So we've had a lot of grumblings from coaches having to pay now for mileage or gas money to go and coach and spend 3 hours to drive to a tournament to coach for 3 games. So that's not something new for many of the other provinces because of the size, but that's a bit of a change in Southern Ontario here. So, that's another factor is the time, travel time, gas money, all of that goes into it as well.
At least it was a constructive conversation here.
Absolutely.
I like it.
But it's something to consider, guys. It really is. In the coming future, it will be something. If we have no
You're not wrong.
funding,
It's
if we
it's
have
something
no
you have to reset.
funding,
Yeah.
something to think about.
No, you have to reassess that that's the case, right? So, but
And I think the role of the coach, even at the adult level, is it's important, especially if there's somebody that knows what they're doing, whether they're call them an administrator or a coach or whatever. They play a significant role in helping a team to win.
Yeah, but a level 2 doesn't determine the fact if you know what you're talking about or not, as well.
Absolutely, no, 100%.
Right? Yeah. Neither does signing a disclaimer and paying $100. So it's the same sort of concept.
I mean, let's put it this way: I'm coaching the Open. Do you think I have a chance to be half decent? Probably not. But I mean, I just I did my stuff and I did it there, and
Obviously, your team thinks you're capable.
Yeah, and having played it, I think that makes a big difference as far as
does,
your ability to coach. For sure.
all I know is I want to dodge carry. Okay, I want to
Dodge. Bob obviously does not need a coach. No, he's right.
Yeah.
But I bet you guys, there's more people out there. If you were to talk to them, and have maybe 5 Pin Universe put up a poll or something like that, I bet you there would be a lot of people that would be open for it, because there's a lot of people that have kids in the sport as well, and that would pay their $60 to coach their kids at whatever level, say in a zone level of YBC or something like that. I'm just saying it's there. And if that's all they had to do, I know right now they get it for free, but they're not going to say, no, I don't want to coach my kid for that experience for $60 a year in 3 different tournaments or something like that. I don't know. I'm just trying to say.
And
but,
you're right. You're right. You'll probably end up getting you'll probably still get those people that are their kids are in YBC and they want to coach the kids. You're probably right. You'll probably get a few of those or a lot of those people, but you might just lose the people that are coaching for the sake of volunteering and coaching.
Yeah. But something to consider for the future.
Yeah.
Just because you might, ruffle changes doesn't mean a change shouldn't be done.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
You always be considering changes.
And if there's things that I've learned, and we were talking about, say 10 years ago, right, when we had Club Tour first start, I guess 12 years ago, we never thought we would end up doing weekend events like you guys do as well, because we didn't think it was possible here, right, Bob?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't think.
100%.
No, we did not think that more than a one-day event was possible. You could play Saturday and you would get your 20, 30 guys that were dedicated enough, or maybe 20, 30. And then they'd go, because Sunday would be like a 120-person shift at Nebs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody would play that shift because that's it. You only need to be there one day. And then when we went to weekend events, people were bitchy about it. They were like, oh, no, I don't want to go for more than one day. And then they ended up coming. And they ended up liking it. And I'm just saying that's just one instance of where bowling has changed here, right, to show that there is a benefit to these things.
And
What about Thursday shifts? You guys ever think Thursday shifts were going to work?
No, I was the first one against it. But
Yeah.
You were against the Friday morning shift.
no, I was okay with Friday morning. I was okay with Friday morning.
What about raising the
You bitched
cost?
about that hard.
What about raising the costs? What happened there? Remember when we got to $220 this year? You guys go to $220. People were like, "Oh, they're afraid we're going to lose people." Some people were afraid they were going to lose if we went to $240. You would have had the same amount of people. It just, you guys make these changes and evolve, and people, as long as you're doing it for the benefit and not stealing money, I think it would be okay.
I think we're all missing a point here. This podcast is about Bob, not about Mitch. Okay, and this has been a long time. So Mitch, just shut the sit down. Yeah, sit down.
Hold on. I want to stroke my ego here one more time. Bob, what'd you tell me at the bar?
I don't remember. No, I don't.
He was at the bar.
I thank Mitch because, honest to God, I bowl more now. Probably, I won't say 100% because of Mitch, but a big significant part because I started going out west to Regina because he was going out there, and Mike Herbert and all, and that has obviously helped my game, and I'm the oldest club tour winner ever.
56 years old, oldest ever to win. Yep.
Yeah, but that's a big thanks to Mitch because he gets people involved. I mean, how many guys has he brought out west that tagged along, and it pitches on itself. And
but how many people out west did Mitch bring out and that have won? Because we're still trying to figure that one out.
Oh my God! I know we have an Eastern Tour winner, huh? A tour winner.
But Mitch, I completely agree with you there, Bob. Mitch is what makes things stick in Ontario.
That's fine. No, I was just doing it as a joke. But what I'm saying is,
right. You are right.
Change is there, man. As soon as you can make these changes to be progressive, now all of a sudden people start caring. That's all I'm saying. It's a possibility.
No. I totally agree. I love change. I love seeing the change. I love all the changes that have happened. But we can't always just make change for the sake of making change.
Yeah,
there has to be
improvements.
And
I'm all for it. I love change.
Right.
Okay, what's the next?
Mitch is not the most popular guy. I'll tell you. A lot of people have their issues with Mitch, but he keeps going. No, honestly, some people think that he does things just because it's to benefit him, but that's not true. He's trying to grow the sport.
Yes,
and he's trying to do the best for the bowlers.
Big time.
Yeah.
Who brought Bob on? He's pumping Mitch's tires. We're here to take Mitch down. That's
Bob. Okay, so we got a couple minutes left here. What's the next change next year for TPC? Breaking news. Let's go.
No, Mitch, actually, podcast is over. We're not doing 2 full hours anymore right here.
Oh, okay.
We're bringing back consolation.
Oh, fuck off. I hate it constantly. So stupid.
Yeah, it's not coming back. It is not coming back.
No.
So you guys got rid of consolation this year?
Yeah.
In Regina as well? It's not going to happen?
They said, I think.
Right.
Yeah, but they have a number block, right? Isn't like a number, if it hits 275, it goes to 40?
Oh.
Yeah, if they hit 270 entries and it goes to 40 or 48 or something. Warren's watching right now, so Warren, no consolation, right? 99% sure there's no consolation.
Do you guys I like a standard number. So even when Nebs last year had 300 entries for 48, I wasn't a huge fan of it, and I told Jeff this. But because I like standard numbers, but we knew we were going to probably hit 300, so it was probably there. Do you guys think that it's good to go to at 270 or less than 270 because we get to 266?
So
I know Warren's here; he's watching, so be respectful of the man, okay?
Personal opinion. I don't like a floating cut. I want to know what I'm shooting for. I want to know what I'm shooting for right from the start. A floating cut makes it really hard because nobody's going to know what they're actually shooting for until the first ball is thrown in the final shot.
Correct.
So, me personally, I'm not a huge fan. The 275 is and it's a
big number.
But it's also right at the number that they were at last year. So it's kind of a crapshoot to me as to what that cut's going to be.
I'm aiming for top 32.
It's gonna be interesting. But personally, I like shooting for a number that I know we can start.
Tim, what? Tim, you're aiming for top 32?
I'm glad you are.
I usually aim like to try and win the consolation, or try to win qualifying.
Win the consolation.
Yeah, that's right.
Why not 32 qualify, but you pay the top 48. Like pay the other 16 spots, even though they don't get to play on Sunday.
You could do that. You could pay him $200 back or something. I don't know, but then you just lose another $3,200 prize fund.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just
what the
if
answer
you're
is.
getting into that many entries rather than.
I'm just shoot your 22, 95, and you'll be okay. And
I don't think
from there.
I don't think it'd be bail, Steve. I think it'd be the other way around. People would have to play to get it to 275. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
If they're sitting around 35th or 38th or something.
But if they're sitting 29th and they're like, if it's a 32 cut,
I'm gonna play,
you gotta play
and then pull out last second. So
when you find out.
Yeah.
when there's enough players to make it 48, do you just say, "Oh, well, I'll just pull myself out because
I'm saving $200. Fuck that." Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be
tough,
interesting.
but...
Like and Regina puts on a good show, so it's going to be a good tournament. But
I think it makes the number.
I like a 32.
I don't think they'll have an issue, but
yeah, I think they'll hit no problem.
What's the max number? Oh, they went 64 on Friday morning, Friday morning too.
Yeah, so it's like 320.
It should hit, especially when they're showing 40 right now on the Thursday morning.
Yeah,
And
will tell a lot.
Yeah, and they'll have 41 for sure. So.
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh, because it's $1,000 now.
Yep.
Right.
The qualifying money is completely different now.
I like that actually. I do like the qualifying money. I like the $1,000 and lesser for the pay for shifts, because now you can play multiple shifts. So we should still hit the 275, because now if you're getting $1,000 instead of $550, you just keep playing.
But
it's 1,500 for first, right? And then
right,
second,
it's that way.
Second to 8th is 1,000. 9 to 12 is 900, and it breaks down to 25 to 32nd is 500.
And,
that's right. That's right. For some reason, I was thinking about what Lenny was saying last year, where he wanted to have it be $1,000 qualifying.
Their monitors are really high there, Richie. You should be fine.
Yeah. Okay. I remember that now, to keep the money incentives. They should still hit it. It's just we'll see how it goes this year.
Yep.
That's the best way to describe it. We'll see how it goes, trial and error, and then see how what we do for next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like
change is good.
It's a building thing. It's something different, and like you said, we'll see where it ends up.
Well, you shoot 2450, and I mean, you should, you're gonna. The problem is, you're gonna get. This is what Colby asked me on the weekend as well. I was like, do we have a high shift qualifier? I'm like, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. I didn't do one this year for Hopedale Club Tour. So he's like, well, there should be some sort of. His dad was talking to me about, like, there should be some incentive. I was like, yeah, but he won a couple side pots, he won doubles, and he won the 225 pot. I'm like, I think he did just.
They're
fine.
already making money.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. $100 or $300 not make me an incentive to play another shift for.
No, he wasn't saying about that. He was saying it should just be like incentive to be number one qualifier or whatever. He wasn't saying to play another shift.
The incentive is you get to play 32nd.
Yeah.
In match play.
But that's what I was saying. Is like, yeah, sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. Like, I think you guys had one per shift, right, Dex? At TBC.
Yeah.
That was for ladies.
For the ladies, yeah.
Oh, ladies.
No,
there was one.
That was sponsors.
And then we have a top qualifier for the tournament.
But there was one last year where I got money from Kara.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was for every shift. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was for a ladies thing, so congratulations, bud.
I was here before. But
that was meat.
Yeah.
It was meat. It was meat.
The meat. Yeah, but I couldn't take the meat home, obviously.
Yeah. Same as the barbecue. The one year,
Bob
remember?
is so confused.
Yeah.
They're a Curtis Deering sponsor, but they have their own.
They own a ranch and they have a meat processing. Yeah.
So they donated meat packages, and Mitch didn't want to take his own.
Mitch gives away everything.
Barbecue.
Just like, Yeah, Johnstone's still pissy about that one, I think.
It was, hey, I outbid him by $5. What did he
He did.
expect?
In line when I was hammered, I sold him a barbecue for $5 more, and Mark offered it for me.
And after Mitch basically had a handshake agreement with Johnstone.
Yeah. Then I was like, how about 105? It worked out.
Okay. Back then I needed the money, man. Needed the money. No, that'll be go well though. Like so, but again, don't avoid the question. What's new for next year, TBC?
We'll see. I guess we're gonna go by Regina's playbook. We'll see what they do, and then we'll change their stuff. Right?
Well, I think that's what they did. That's what they did for you guys.
Yeah.
We'll experience some tournaments and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Guys, I gotta go to work.
I was hoping it'd be sooner.
Yeah. Sorry.
Bob, congrats again. Awesome win. Dexter, winning your zone. Mitch, running a successful club tour.
Yeah. Congrats to you guys. Awesome.
Yeah, we're just here. All right.
Congrats to you guys.
Hey, we'll check you all out next week. And thanks again, guys, for coming on.
Hey, guys, take care.
All right, take care.